Sometimes we forget why we're here. It's easy to fall off track. These help us remember.
These battle scars don't look like they're fading, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles. Growing up, I had a dream, something no one else could see. Tell me what.
So there are so many different types of women in the world, different races, characteristics, culture, beliefs, personalities, occupations, relationship statuses even, sexual preferences. But yet, we as a gender make the same exact mistake. Now, I always wondered why that is if we all decide to make different choices in life, even fighting, crying, and pleading our way to have a different outcome. Now, what it is, I believe, is because even though we try to change, liberate, or progress as much as we can around us, we never even decide to change ourselves. We always overlook our own negative traits and behaviors when our relationships don't work, or our jobs fail to show us recognition, or anything that doesn't go our way. We look towards changing everything else but ourselves. One of our biggest issues, and I believe every woman does it, is that we follow up criticism with this emotional defensive outcry, or we would just try to deflect it and never look towards the logic in what was said. We are also good at not taking responsibilities for our own actions, even when we get aggressively mad and physically act out towards the ones who mentioned it. Plus, we constantly complain of unfairness in the world, yet remain unfair to everything else and everyone. We never chose to work on ourselves emotionally and mentally if suggested, or to even consider change of habits that may affect us. Now I wanted to make this my first video of discussion on this new channel because I've recently made a decision to change myself for the better. I decided to become a better woman for my husband and for my children. I've decided this even for myself. A challenge I have never took on before. Something I've never considered doing. I chose sobriety. I chose to remain alcohol free for a whole year while bettering my physical health at a gym or at home. Now, this was a decision that I have never made for anyone or anything before, besides of course my pregnancy, until recently. Because even though I considered myself to be a good woman who knows her role for my husband already, I wanted to become a great wife. Well, of course, emotionally thinking, I wouldn't want to change this at all because I didn't do it every day. I barely kept this in the house, and I felt that drinking wine or a shot here and there was my only luxury in life for myself. The one thing to wind down after my 2-year-old toddler drove me crazy, and to remain social with my family and friends. Now, in truth, and logically speaking, and logically thinking, this action that I held so dear can literally shorten my lifespan, damage my health to where I won't be able to even enjoy the future for my husband and kids. My physique will change dramatically for the worse if it hasn't already, and depression, the inevitable outcome, will manifest. I have overlooked this action, which I considered a luxury for years, and never even considered it to be something detrimental to my emotional stability, hormonal imbalance, health, and weight. These are the decisions that we as women overlook many times if we feel that it is something we just want, not need. It is never a dying need for us because naturally we are shallow, naturally we think in selfish ways, and naturally we feel we don't want to change ourselves. We are willing to lose it all, health, relationships, or even our looks, just because we want to be right about something or because we feel we deserve something. We have to deal with so much. We have to raise kids. We, I. I barely hear this from men when they naturally have to take the bigger bite in life, have way more responsibilities, and even worse now, what they go through with modern day feminism taking such an evil turn. Yet, our priorities are always to better our own perceptions of ourselves instead of what is right. The only time we actually start to consider bettering ourselves physically or mentally is if it holds some financial benefit, like this so-called modeling going on Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, etc., etc. Or to rack up these social degrees after social degrees just to brag about and feel intelligent when we really aren't. To use these degrees to chase a career that you were just going to hate in the end anyways, with crazy student loans debt in the end. The only time we consider change is when it's a selfish gain in our life. Now, to all the women who don't agree with any of this are the ones who do this a lot and already can't take the criticism I'm speaking of. But for those of you who are watching and agree, are most likely the ones who have gone through that phase in the past and chose to make better decisions, not just for who they love, but for themselves also. Who took a step back and look at themselves on what could need progression and what could be lost to better their relationship or situations, their homes, their family, their friends. Now, if so, if you are feeling this way, congratulate yourselves. Clap and smack your back, because there is only a few of you. Well, today. Welcome, ladies, and hopefully gents. Welcome to my channel, because this is my start of a new leaf and your beginning to a new perception in life and a better journey for the future. It's to have better choices and habits, successful relationships, and traditional morals again. So, my beginning to a new sober life, being a new sober wife, your ladies beginning to a new perception and traditional moral gain. Now, I know my change in life might not be looked at something drastic to many, but it's a wonderful change health-wise, and even the most minuscule changes can make a great difference in personality, confidence, intelligence, and so on. Now, of course, those will all be topics for my future needed changed videos. So, what are some drastic changes we can make with ourselves that can not just benefit relationships and health, but our overall being as women? You know, I believe we can at least start with the minuscule but large effect that takes place into Black societies today. That real obvious one, that careless decision, what we wear don't make us what we look like. That mindset we have, the minimal clothing we choose to wear to gain flattery for our own egos and for men's attention that we so desperately seek. How we feel that we shouldn't be judged by how we carry ourselves publicly, what we say publicly, how we act publicly, and what we do publicly. We choose to do things unnecessary just to gain some form of validation from people we don't even know, while ignoring the ones we do, who actually care and love us more than any Instagram, Snapchat, or Facebook follower can. All these social media sites, the entertainment industry, is where we choose to commit to an audience faithfully, just by devaluing ourselves, just for this attention, which lacks in our homes supposedly, because we can't keep or supposedly find the right man. When we degrade ourselves for likes, comments, public awe, and money, we have stopped looking for that great man. We have stopped looking for a real relationship. You have given that up intentionally because your own self-flattery was way more worth your own morals. The men that follow this behavior and consider it okay might tell you all you want to hear. And there's some real confused beta men out there that do this. They tell you you are a strong Black queen. You are independent. You don't need to steer away from what you're doing. You can do what you want. But this don't negate the fact that you deliberately labeled yourself a whore. You labeled yourself what you look like, and that is exactly how they're going to see you, regardless of what they say, to get you. Now, that such title, whore, slut, is being glorified today, and this, I feel, is what needs the biggest change. Those words, strong, independent, are some form of idealism for women in this modern era we live in. That is a way to easy gain from it now. And it's no longer a loss to be titled a slut, a whore, a stripper. The comfort and freedom to do whatever you like without any repercussion sounds amazing in this fantasy world. But to all immature, child-minded individuals who hold this dear, holds no real responsibility. So how is this a productive task? Where is the progression? It is not needed if whatever you do is rewarded. There is no need to change anything of yourself or any situation if whatever you do is okay. Being a bum is applauding. Being a whore is worshipped. There is no motivation for change. Us women can get as ignorant, idiotic, naked, disrespectful, and obnoxious as we possibly can. And men have to continue to play this caregiver role regardless. Their roles never change in life. They're still looked at as the guides and leaders that's supposed to provide and protect their young and their wives. Now it's funny because we have a quick list of requirements of what we want from a man, right down to if he wears socks in his bed comfortably, and yet those simple changes as to covering up enough to keep a man's mystery alive is never a priority. What's wrong with society? What's wrong with changing this one little task? What's wrong with that being a law for ourselves as women, to show our daughters of tomorrow the futures, our legacies, how women should truly carry themselves, the poise and grace and self-worth we once truly had. I believe this modernized time we live in today, a lot of this indoctrination of this behavior definitely comes from, of course, the entertainment industry and social media sites that promote it and keep it in our sites. But they can't possibly take all the blame. We are all grown and we know right from wrong. We choose to do it. We choose to take it as being okay. We choose to continue on the behavior out in the outside world as a positive. And when the other gender, man, or other races point out this factor, our defensiveness takes effect. We don't want to perceive anything we do as wrong, not even what we wear, what we say, what degrading things we do. It's men's fault for looking. It's men's fault for making me angry. It's men's fault for my actions. Now, since when? Since when has men have to take the blame for everything we do? That is the biggest excuse used for today in this feminized world we live in. And men are demonized for just being men, for wanting different in a woman, and for their natural guidance to want to teach us for the better. Everything they are meant to do. We don't want to admit that our derogatory ways of dressing baits the men we constantly complain about because we enjoy the attention they give us, choose to give ourselves to them, and get mad when we are treated exactly how we look and act. It don't make sense. Let's start taking some blame here and look within ourselves first. With a change like this, it might take time for many of you, because a lot of you love to look like these pinup rap girls that we have today. But trust me, a change for the positive is a needed change for growth. I'm not used to sobriety, but it's a risk to take for the better. A better outcome in my life, a better outcome in my future, and to make better decisions. If we can work on how we carry ourselves on the outside, we are definitely capable of working on ourselves on the inside. Because as we break these bad habits, we are building our mental strength also. And it would discipline ourselves into greater standing. We demonize change when a man suggests it, but we'll suggest it for them on everything they do if they have their own ways we dislike. I believe it is time to really grow up, ladies, and to start look in the mirror. Look in the mirror. Now, those of you who are in relationships and you have a good man who critiques you or critiques you for the positive to motivate you, and it's hard to take it, start taking it. A good man will give it to you if he cares, and he is with you for a reason already. So obviously he's not going to give it to you to make your matters worse, only for the better, only to see you grow. And for my single women watching, before you take that long shower or bath tonight, stop and stare at yourself for a good amount of time. Just look at all the features you have on your face, body. Start to look past those actual features and stare into your own eyes. Stare deep into your soul. Do this for a good 5-10 minutes and give yourself some real good deep breaths. Now, as you're staring back into your soul, step back and look at what you have on. Look at what your hair is like. Is your face painted with thick makeup? Do you carry yourself well? How do you look? So to my ladies that are watching, I would like y'all to comment below with what you were wearing when you actually did this, if you did. Your drastic change you have done, if you have done one before, for the better, for your family, for your friends, or the habits you have now that you possibly can't seem to break. I'm here for you. Let's go on this journey for a positive change together. I want you to like, share, subscribe, and continue on with this journey. And don't forget that bell button. Welcome to BWALL, a Black woman against liberal lunacies. Become BWALL yourself by joining my channel. And let's start progressing from within our own souls, our own behaviors, and make better women spring. Until next time.
Something no one else could see. Tell me what it means when your faith is falling beneath your knees and you can't breathe. Everything you see reminds you of what you're not or something you won't be. You gotta take what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in a business. Not because they want to do it, just because they heard it pays. And who the fuck wants to be poor knowing that's how we've been raised? Society is getting heavy, I can feel the weight. The pressure of success is like 100 million pounds of shame. And that's the reason I'm staying up late, trying to find a way to escape the stereotypes this day and age is making me feel like the only way I'll be happy is getting signed to